Listen to me. Not the way you half listen to things while you're strolling. Not with one eye on the clock. Let the phone down. Sit still. Because what I'm about to tell you kept me alive. And it will keep you alive. But only if every word lands. I'm 82 years old. Last November, I sit in this exact chair, in this exact room, completely alone, and my heart began to die. No drums, no warning sirens, no Hollywood moment where a man staggers backward and grabs the lamp on his way to the floor. Just a whisper. Here's what they don't teach you. When the movies get catastrophically wrong, a heart attack doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it tiptoes and wearing socks, sits down next to you, and quietly begins this work. The first thing I felt wasn't pain. It was dread, a cold, sourceless dread, like the moment before bad news that you already know is coming. It settled into my stomach like iron. Then came the pressure across my collarbones. Not my left arm, not my chest, right across the ridge of my shoulders, like someone had laid a soaking wet sandbag over me and walked away. Then my jaw began to ache, deep, like I'd been clenching my teeth through a nightmare I couldn't remember. That's when the trap opens. Your brain, your proud, stubborn, self-protecting brain, it will lie to you. It will say this is nothing. Indigestion. You ate badly. Go lie down. Sleep it off. Do not listen to it. Lying flat when your heart is in distress is one of the most dangerous things you can do. When you go horizontal, you force an already failing heart to fight gravity twice as hard to circulate blood. Fluid floods the lungs. People drown quietly in their own beds, thinking they were being sensible, thinking they were resting. I never been good at resting. I stood up. My hands were sweating. Ice cold sweat, not the warmth of exertion, but the cold, clammy, panic sweat of a body that knows something is wrong before the mind accepts it. That's your autonomic nervous system. It's not dramatic, it's biochemical. It means your body has already made the diagnosis, even if your ego hasn't. The instinct, and I fought it hard, was to call my son, to hear a familiar voice, to have someone I love rush over and sit with me and tell me it was going to be fine. Comfort is a killer. Your son can't stop a clot. Your daughter can't clear an artery. Love is irreplaceable in this life, but in that moment it is a luxury you cannot afford. I called 911. No hesitation. Now let me just see if it passes. I dialed. But here is what they don't tell you when you're told to call 911 and wait. Calling 911 starts the clock. It does not solve a problem. Where I love the response time is 12 minutes and a good night, and sometimes it's 20. Meanwhile, your heart muscle begins dying in 5 minutes without blood flow. You do the math. That gap between the call and the arrival, that is where people are lost. That is the window nobody prepares you for. What you do in those minutes is everything. First, the door. I drag myself along the wall, hand over hand, shoulder against the plaster, to the front door. I unbolted it, cracked it open 6 inches. Then I sit in the recliner right beside it, and I did not move again. Why? Because EMTs arriving at a locked doorways, 3 to 5 precious minutes trying to break it down. 3 minutes. That's the clinical threshold between full neurological recovery and permanent brain damage. I wasn't going to let a deadbolt be the thing that took me. Every step you take, every errand you run, let me find my phone, let me change my shirt, let me feed the dog, every one of those steps burns oxygen your damaged heart cannot spare. And a heart attack movement is caused. Stillness is survival. Become a statue. But first make one stop. There is a bottle of plain uncoated 325 milligram aspirin in my kitchen drawer. Not ibuprofen, not Tylenol. Aspirin, I grabbed it, I shook one out, and I did not swallow it. That matters more than it sounds. Swallowing a pill means it travels through your stomach, gets broken down by acid, passes into your intestines, metabolizes, by which time 5 to 7 minutes have elapsed. A heart attack doesn't give you 7 minutes to run a digestion cycle. You chew it, it tastes like bitter chalk and chemical dust and something vaguely medicinal and wrong, and you keep chewing until it's passed, and then you hold it under your tongue. The mucous membrane of your mouth absorbs it directly into the bloodstream. Seconds, not minutes. A heart attack is a plumbing emergency. Blood cells are clumping, sticking, forming a dam in the artery. Aspirin coats those platelets. It interrupts the chain reaction. It doesn't fix the blockage, but it freezes it, stops the clot from growing, pauses the dying. My cardiologist looked me in the eye afterward and told me that one chewed aspirin bought me 12 additional minutes of fireable heart muscle. 12 minutes, one pill, one drawer, one decision. So now I'm in the chair. The door is open. The aspirin is doing its work. The dispatcher's on speaker. Her boy is steady and calm and simple, far away from the weight sitting on my chest. And then comes the hardest part. You wait. You brain, flooded with adrenaline, starts screaming. Every alarm at ass fires at once. Your heart rate surges. And here is the cruelest irony of cardiac arrest. Panic accelerates it. The adrenaline that is meant to save you tears at the very muscle that is already tearing. You have to silence it. I close my eyes. 4 seconds in through the nose. Hold. 6 seconds out through the mouth. 4 in, 6 out. I treated it like a job. I ignored the elephant sitting on my sternum. I ignored the cold sweat soaking through my shirt. I just counted. Breathe. Dropped my heart rate down to something like an idle. Tactical breathing. It is real. It works. And in that moment, sitting gray and drenched and alone in a chair by an open door, it was the only weapon I had left. 14 minutes after I died, they walked in. I was conscious. The next morning I was sitting up in a hospital bed eating terrible jello with a stent in my right artery, the widowmaker, and a story I needed to tell you. Get a bottle of uncoated aspirin tonight. Put one on your nightstand, one in your glove box, one in your desk drawer at work. Know the difference between indigestion and that cold, heavy whisper of dread. No, lie down. Don't call for comfort. Don't wait to see if it passes. Open your door. Chew the aspirin. Count your breaths. Because in the most critical 5 minutes of your life, there is no app, no algorithm, no ambulance fast enough to substitute for you, knowing exactly what not to do. The clock is already running. Wake up